Reviews, the biggest news, the what's new, and the who's who. Welcome to the Daily Gamer Podcast with Joe Mango and James.
Welcome to the Daily Gamer Podcast number 15. I can't believe it. We're on to number 15. This is our first podcast, unfortunately, without James Russell.
Dun, dun.
But we do have our special guest who I brought in to just do an interview with, but now I've roped him in to be my co-host for this whole podcast. It's Tim from Unix Gaming. Hey, Tim.
Hey, dude. What's up? Yeah, glad to be part of the podcast. Number 15.
Number 15, yeah. I'm very excited to have you here. We've been trying to get you in for years, months more like. But you're such a busy man with your Unix gaming thing, and you're doing some really cool stuff. We're going to get more into that later on when I get down to the interview hard questions stuff. We're going to talk a lot about blockchain gaming, which is quite cool.
Yep.
But for today, to start with, I want to talk about a little topic, all right? Gaming topic. And we're both going to be fathers soon. You're going to be a father in March?
End of March. Or could potentially be 1st of April, so April Fool's to me, right?
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
And you're having a daughter.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool. And I'm going to be a father in like the start of May. So we're only like about a month apart, which is pretty crazy. So I thought today, why don't we talk about the games that we wish we could play again, but with our kids from when we were kids.
Sure.
You know what I mean? There's probably plenty of games.
More than we can talk about.
So many. Do you have one you want to start with?
I mean, the most obvious ones are probably the ones least likely to be played by my then appropriately aged daughter. It's like Final Fantasy 7 and 8, because those are the games like really kind of, formed my childhood, but they're complicated and they're not exactly the games that most people want to play.
No, I get you. Do you remember the old like Buzz Lightyear game?
Oh, yeah.
Where you have to kind of like jump around the room and...
Toy Story. Yeah, I think it was Toy Story
game.
2, the game. I don't even know if Toy Story 1 existed as a game, but 2, I remember it. I played a lot.
You would have to like jump onto things and like swing, and then fire yourself up there.
Yeah.
That was a cool game.
It was fun.
I remember being really like into that when I was like super young.
Yeah.
Probably one of the earlier games I remember playing.
I think as platformers go, I think I was probably more like Croc. I don't know if you remember Croc.
The
little crocodile. Know. I mean, it's basically Crash Bandicoot, but with a different flavor.
Okay.
And then Crash Bandicoot was obviously a big one.
That was such a good... Crash Bandicoot.
That was the jam.
So good. And, do they still make Crash Bandicoot games?
I think they do. Pretty sure one came out not that long ago.
I think so too. I just went... As I said it, I thought, I think I heard of one recently.
There's a new one. But I think the biggest, like, modern release of Crash Bandicoot is a remake of 1, 2, and 3, which makes sense, right? Those are the ones that went down best. Make them look pretty and make them visible. Yeah, exactly.
Ooga booga.
And then the remake of Crash Team Racing, which was I can't tell you how much time I put into that as a kid. Like,
more than Mario Kart.
Way more. I mean, like, the thing is, Nintendo wasn't a really big thing in South Africa. Like, they had something that was called Golden China. It was inevitably like a clone of Nintendo. And they just like put all the games onto a single cartridge. And you play them. And when you're a kid, you have no like understanding of what pirating is or what you're playing. You're just like playing Nintendo. And I was like, I didn't know I was playing Nintendo. I just thought, I'm playing Mario. I'm playing Circus Game. I'm playing. So like,
was it called slightly different, like Tario or something?
No, it was probably still called Super Mario, but I don't think there was many Nintendo badges. So I knew I was playing Mario. It was only like later when I got my own PlayStation 1 where I started like connecting franchises with like brands and stuff.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I mean, even going back to Crash Team Racing. I remember we had this like we used to go on like car rides a lot. We'd drive to the south of France and stuff like that on like holiday with the family. So I remember my mom and dad bought like a portable DVD player, and the screen was like tiny, like so tiny. But I remember we used to take that with us, plug the PlayStation 1 in, and play Crash Team Racing on the back of that.
That's amazing.
In the back seat of the car on the way to wherever we were going. And it was amazing. I've got 2 younger brothers, and it was just like, that kept us quiet for hours until the battery ran out on the portable DVD player.
Well, I mean, kids are doing that now, but with, it'll be Mario Kart on a Switch.
Yeah,
that's true. Not that far
off. But now you can do it, on the Switch. It's way easier. And the battery probably lasts way longer.
Yeah, but it's more convenient. There's less of a experience getting it all set up.
That's true.
You don't have to work for it. So
yeah, that's
not
true.
as good.
Yeah, they don't know what they've got now, do they?
No.
Kids these days.
batteries that can be recharged.
Whoa.
That was some modern. I mean, when I first thing like portable card game console I had was Game Boy Color, and I mean, like for me, the biggest problem wasn't like, oh, the batteries are going to run out. It's like, are the batteries leaking? That's the thing that would happen, right? Basically, melt the inside of your console.
Honestly, yeah, that's going back a bit now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Nice. What other games can you think of from back in the day? I think I remember playing. Oh, what is that game? Oh, it was like this maybe not that child friendly, but I played it when I was quite young. I think.
Yeah.
It was like Medal of Honor. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Medal
of
Honor
course.
Frontier or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that game was so good.
I mean,
it was like the wartime, like World War I or II or something.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, the thing is, for me, that was probably that was like one of the best kind of shooters. Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it was one of the best shooters. I mean, then at the time, I didn't know that like there was a hop skip away from like Doom on the PC. I didn't know that people were playing Doom until a little bit later when like I discovered Doom and Duke Nukem and stuff. But like Medal of Honor was awesome. I mean, I was also playing games that are probably not appropriate for kids, like Twisted Metal and all kinds of stuff that you probably. But like if it comes down to your parents have to decide either we don't let them play the game because it's too old for them, or we let them play and they shut up. So I mean,
yeah, that's true.
Easy decision.
I think I know what most parents go with and what I'll probably go with as well. Yeah,
I'll just pretend you're not playing it. I'll look away.
No, for sure. The only thing I remember about Medal of Honor though that was annoying is sometimes when you got into a position where there was loads of enemies around you, they just had an endless amount of grenades.
Yeah.
They would just, like, all of a sudden, you'd be, like, aiming at someone, and then you see, like, 5-6 grenades just flying at you, and you're just like, what do I do?
Yeah.
It was a hard game.
Yeah.
It was a hard game. I don't even know if they had difficulty settings back then.
I don't think they did.
But I remember it being a pretty tough game, and I definitely completed it in the end, but it took me a long time, I think.
I mean, I think the difference, like, then is a lot of the difficulty from stuff like Medal of Honor is that was, like, one of the first, I mean, I would say good shooters for the PlayStation. I could be wrong, but I don't think that the difficulty was totally down to design and more like it's really fidgety and difficult to play a shooter on a PS1 when people hadn't figured out how controls work properly. So
and there was no analog sticks.
Yeah. Damn. I didn't have the first controller I had. Didn't even have analog sticks.
No.
I only found out that you needed them in some games when I think I bought Ape Escape.
Okay.
And it was like you need analog sticks to play this game.
Yeah.
I was crushed.
No, but I was
horrible.
Wait, so PlayStation 1 didn't have any analog sticks, or it bought out analog sticks later on?
They released afterwards, and then some games required it. Yeah, afterwards. But but before that, I was blissfully unaware. I was using those directional buttons.
Yeah.
Never touched them since, but
no, you don't really use them now.
Maybe fighters probably.
Jeez. Oh yeah. I never know what buttons to press anyway when I play fighters.
No,
I just mash.
Yeah, that's what most people do. I mean, the problem. I think the biggest problem with fighters is that usually in the beginning you mash buttons, and then cool stuff happens, and then you feel like, I mean, this feels cheap. I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna learn this stuff. Then you do that, and then your mate shows up and just hits the buttons and inevitably beats you because you're terrible at like playing properly. Like, I'm just gonna mash buttons.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go back to the system that works.
So the professionals, if we went up and just mashed buttons, would probably win.
I wouldn't classify myself as a professional when I was learning the combos. There was. I mean, especially like if we're talking like Tekken 3 was the big one for me on PlayStation. When you were downloading the combos onto like a piece of paper, printing a piece of paper with all the combos, and you're just like, looking at it while you're playing. That was. Yeah, I wouldn't call myself a professional.
No. Tekken's another good one though.
Yeah,
I played really a lot of Tekken when I was younger.
Yeah.
I recently bought Tekken 8. And my wife destroys me at it. I've spoken about it before on the podcast. She only plays with Nina, and she like knows all the combos for Nina, and just does it over and over again, like the same combo. Do poof, poof, and every time she just smashes me.
Yeah.
And I try not to get annoyed because I'm like trying to get her into gaming more. So when she does want to play games, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. But then she starts beating me, and I'm like, this kind of sucks.
Well, I think I think the first thing to mention is that your Tekken, which we could play at the brunch that you used to, that you hosted.
Our daily gamer brunch.
Yeah, that got me in a little bit of trouble because when I was playing against your wife, I was like, oh, Jill, my wife was like, oh, you should play one of the female characters, don't just play the guys. So I picked one, and inevitably she was the most well endowed of the female characters. I just chose the first one I saw, and Jill was like, you would choose her, and I was like, no, I mean. I know her moves.
Yeah.
Sure, you know her moves. So that got me in a bit of trouble. But
a little bit raunchy character.
Yeah.
They love it though, don't they? These developers.
Yeah. I mean, especially like there's certain games like Dead or Alive, which have they've coined the phrase jiggle physics. So they that's something that's probably they've developed. They know what they're doing. But I was actually thinking something you brought up, which could be good or is a good topic for around kids and like playing games with kids, is like, so my wife, when I play with her, she's not the biggest fan. She's not that interested in gaming, but I will play occasionally, and it is pretty easy to like beat her. She doesn't play that much. I've been playing since I was born. So, but I need to lose a couple games because if I don't lose anything, she's done. And now it comes to the point where it's like, are you supposed to let your kids win? Or or are you supposed to do it, but you need to let them win, but not so make it so obvious, right? Because, I think that's the thing I'm struggling to get down.
Yeah, well, I think it's good now, right? Because when we have kids and they grow up and they're playing games, we're actually pretty good at games.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, my parents didn't play games. So when I went against my dad, I would destroy him. But now we're actually gamers. So our kids have got to step it up a bit if they want to beat, old daddy-o.
Yeah.
Which, in a way, is good because we're probably going to get, like, a new generation of really good, insane playing children.
I mean, I think we're probably that generation with the parents who, to their kids, are going to turn to the kid and say, get good, scrub.
Yeah.
Just like... You got wrecked. I'm not sure what kind of message you're putting across to your kids when you're teabagging them in Halo, but
suck on this. Yeah. Oh, that's good. No, and also, like when I was younger, my dad was like the coach of the football team. I really want to be the coach of the esports team.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna totally set up my own esports league for like the school or whatever, and I'll like run the team, get my kid in it. I would love that. That'd be so cool.
Have
nerdy generation, here we come.
Yeah, like your kids invite some friends over to play, like to game, and you like take them aside at one point. And you go, your friend Alex, he's really letting the team down. I think you could probably do a little bit better.
Oh dear, like one of those soccer moms for gaming.
Yeah.
Oh dear. You got any other games you remember playing as a youth? Thing is, when I try and think of it, they're all actually really bad, like not games you would play as a kid, right?
Yeah. I mean, so a lot of the stuff, I think it was pretty much consisted 50% PlayStation and 50% like PC. And a lot of the PC stuff I was also playing was like Diablo, StarCraft. I don't know how much.
Yeah.
How much a kid would be interested in, especially the original StarCraft. Like, it's fun, it's good, it's challenging, but it's dated. So
that's true. I've got a good one, actually. Pokemon.
Oh, damn, yeah.
Come on.
But not like Pokemon. I mean...
Pokemon, like, Red. Like, what was it? What was the first one? Pokemon Red and Blue, I think.
Red and Blue. And
Yellow.
Then Yellow came out.
Yellow came out after that. Because I had Red first, then I went on to Yellow. But yeah, they would be great ones to show the kids. Like, this is what we used to play on, like, little 8-bit, like... running in some grass, if you can call it grass.
Yeah,
like,
it was grass.
2D grass.
It was grass.
Yeah, I mean, now the Pokemons are way more advanced and... I mean, they look cool, but I don't know if they're for me.
No,
I quite like the old 2D...
Yeah. I mean, the problem with the new ones, though, is, like, it's hard for us to tell if the new ones are any better than the old ones, because I played the first couple generations to death.
Yeah.
And the new ones aren't that different from the original. No. So when I play it, I'm like...
And also, there's like 700 Pokemon species now.
It was better when it was 150.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Was it 150 or 151 with...
Yeah, 151 with Mew.
With Mew.
And, I mean, I remember when the show first came out, and the end of the show, they would do the Pokemon rap, and they would name all 150 Pokemon in the rap. I mean, imagine a Pokemon rap for 700 Pokemon. This is the Pokemon rap 20 minutes later, and then you got whoever final Pokemon.
No way.
And they also, their names are a bit crazy now. You know, before it was like Charmander, Squirtle, that. Now it's like Oinky Pen, and you're like, I don't know.
They're really like just doing a random name generator online and going, yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, I feel like Pokemon these days, I think they just like get the words that didn't quite make Wordle. They're like, this is a Pokemon. This is definitely a Pokemon.
But yeah, that would be a really good one, especially with like an old school Game Boy as well.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be cool. They're actually, I saw they're selling them at like Virgin mega stores now. They're selling like old school Game Boys.
They're also selling the original Tamagotchi.
Really?
Yeah, which is it reminded me of how annoying Tamagotchis are.
Yeah.
I hate them.
I don't think I ever really had one, but I was around a lot of people that did.
Yeah.
And I would like be like, oh, can I try and play your game? And then they'd be like so protective, like, no, you can't kill my.
Yeah. Well, I mean, funnily enough, we're on this topic of what games would you want your kids to play, and I'm thinking, not that long ago, my wife was playing on the Tamagotchi, and I thought, I mean, all you do is feed it and it poops, and then you like.
She's still playing.
I was like, this is horrible. Who wants to do that? And I realized, oh wait, that's what you do with kids.
Yeah.
So
you'll be doing that in a few short months.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
2 months. Yeah, it's the 1st of February now.
Yeah.
No, wait, sorry. It's the 3rd of February now. But yeah, you could be doing that, Tim.
Yeah.
How funny will that be?
I mean, it's Tamagotchi real life edition.
Yeah.
This is the one where you don't want to forget it under the pillow, or, like forgot that it slipped down the side of the couch. That would be a bit of an awkward conversation.
Jeez. I mean, I won't get too much into it, but I have been recently, I'm like, babe, I don't actually know what to do. I was like, I haven't read any books. I haven't looked anywhere online. I should probably learn this.
Yeah.
I was like, what do I need to know? She's like, don't shake the baby. I'm like, why would I shake the baby? She's like, don't shake the baby.
Shake the baby. Don't shake. I mean, that seems fairly obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something you could apply to anything. Don't shake the console. Don't shake the computer. Don't
100%.
Don't shake the laptop.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll follow through. I think I'm just going to treat it the same way you treat consoles. With care.
Yeah.
Play with it a little bit. You need to have some space between. So yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. No, I'm excited. I think it's going to be cool. The only other games I can think of are really bad. I remember playing GTA when I was really young, like the old GTA. I actually was trying to remember which one it was, but it was like maybe even the first one. But what I'm quite excited to do is play a game that is still out now. They're still making them, even if it's like a remake. Like we just had the Dead Space remake, right? We'll talk more about that later. But have a game that we can show the kids. We'll play the original version, right? Then play the new version or something like that. Or even if they're playing the new version, we're like, well, let me show you the one they brought out in 1983. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, yeah, pretty cool. I mean, Tetris is still going strong.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't changed that much. Although there's Tetris Effect, which is pretty awesome.
Is that the one on VR?
No, it's uses like audio and like rhythmic. It kind
they
of
have
like
that one in VR as well.
Crazy good.
Yeah. I was talking about it a few weeks ago actually on the last podcast. It is basically like the same thing, but in VR, and it goes to the music and then the colors and stuff as well, right? Yeah. So they have it in VR now. It's
they also
cool.
have a battle royale Tetris game.
No way. So you're against other people?
Yeah, so you and 99 other people drop in, and you can see, so you're in the middle, and you can see all the 99 other games being played around the screen. And I think you can affect the other players.
Really?
I mean, ultimately, the goal is not to be terrible, but you can affect and wipe out other players.
Cool.
So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
It's a battle royale made for me.
I like it. Like, imagine like a chess battle royale or something.
Like you mark it, but then it comes out and it blows up.
They're making battle royales out of anything, aren't they?
Anything.
I know this is obviously a newer game, but I am excited to play some Fortnite with my child because it's a pretty fun game. You got the creative. I actually did a thing with Jake, who is on the radio station Beat 97.8, which we do our radio show on and everything. So he's a presenter on there, and I got him into Fortnite, and he loves it. And then we went into creative, and you can do a mode where, like, there's loads of different ones that people just create. Like, anyone can create them, right? And it was one where it was like you had to use like parkour and stuff to like get over into the next level, let's say. And there's also like hidden things. So it's like, oh, this train needs a battery to move, and you got to go try and find the battery. And like we played it for like 2 hours and completed it, and we were like, that was so much fun.
Yeah,
like it was so cool. I think I'm definitely keen to do that.
The thing is, I've become a bit of a Fortnite snob. I mean, it's kind of the same way I treat Apple products. I mean, I respect them. I mean, I'll invest in their stock, but I wouldn't buy any of their products.
Yeah.
And so I'm a bit of a pass there. If the kid's really into Fortnite, but I mean, I also found myself not long ago saying, the biggest Fortnite, it's for kids. I'm gonna go play Minecraft.
Yeah.
Because that's real grown-up game. Real.
That is a good one. That's another good one to play with your kid. Yeah, for sure. But Tim, hear me out just really quickly before we wrap up this little topic. Without Fortnite, we wouldn't have Unreal Engine 5 where it's at today, which means we wouldn't have the new games coming out on Unreal Engine 5 being as good and cool as they are.
Yeah,
There's only been one game so far that's been released on Unreal Engine 5 completely, which is the updated Fortnite.
Yeah.
Right? But there's loads of people creating games now on Unreal Engine 5. So over the next couple of years, we're going to start seeing full AAA titles on Unreal Engine 5, which we wouldn't have had if Fortnite didn't blow up. Epic Games get so much money that they could develop Unreal Engine 5 properly.
Well, look, I appreciate Fortnite. I do appreciate it because the day it released, my Dota games got better because the people I didn't want to play with started playing Fortnite.
Yeah, so, that's a good point. They're probably all back in there now after they got bored of Fortnite.
It might be.
Yeah. I saw that with League of Legends, to be honest with you.
Games have gone down, so they may be back.
Yeah. All right, well, there you go. They're the games that we loved playing as kids, and we would totally play them again now. And when me and Tim actually have our kids, which is pretty soon, I'm sure it's going to be a few years before they'll be able to get into the gaming world. We'll see. See how quickly they develop. We'll get them a controller day one.
Yeah, I mean, they don't need the marionette or the shaker or whatever it's called. See, I don't know what it's called, but I can put a mouse.
You can do the brain things that you can put it on their brain. And play games. I saw a girl was playing Elden Ring just by her brain. It was pretty cool. But yeah, so they're the games that we loved playing as kids, and we're going to play with our kids soon. Sure. Thanks, Tim, for all your amazing games.
Yeah, no, it kind of makes me want to play them now. So.
Me too. Yeah. Right, I have got you, Tim. I've got all the big questions for you now. We've done all the fun stuff. That's over. Now time for the nitty-gritty.
Time for work.
Yeah, exactly. So, Tim, you are the head of marketing for Unix Gaming. Why don't you tell us, what is Unix Gaming?
Well, I mean, I guess the best way to describe us is an ecosystem for Web3 developers and Web3 games.
Cool.
The Web3 gaming space is complicated at the moment. It's new. New things are always complicated, and developers are struggling sometimes to find maybe they've got a great game, but they're struggling to find community. Maybe they've got a great community, but they're struggling to finish their game. And we provide the kind of resources they need to see their game to completion, so make sure that they can have a successful title. In the blockchain gaming space.
Okay, cool. So they basically kind of come to you, and are you like a consultant for them? Like, so you'll like talk them through the process, or do they like go onto your website and they do it through that? Like, how does that work if they want to kind of, make their game into a blockchain game, or make a blockchain game in the first place?
Yeah, so we've got a number of ways we can assist. We've got a platform which we're building, which we're pretty proud of, own.gg, which is a gaming platform that allows like gamers to find Web3 games, like really great blockchain games. And you can think of it like Steam for blockchain gaming. We're not the first to use that term, but we're working really hard to make something that's like really good. And so that will be the first port of call. We also have a development team. They at like the peak, they're at 120 strong, and it's quite a diverse team. We've got blockchain economists, artists, game designers,
very cool.
The whole shebang, and they can help developers do whatever it is they need. You need NFTs in your game, and you can't figure out how to make it work. You need your tokenomics sorted out. You need like the more development stuff on the actual game front. We can help you with that. So it really depends what you need. We would like forward you to the right people.
Very cool. Are a lot of developers now using like Unreal Engine 4 and 5 to create their blockchain games, or? Yeah,
I mean, I think Unreal Engine and Unity are probably the most used. Unity's just like the most popular game engine at the, because it's very easy to use. It's very user friendly. Unity can, Unreal Engine can sometimes be a bit overwhelming because it's a more high production value game or engine. So you need usually you kind of feel like you need high quality production assets, which means more time, more budget. Whereas Unity is more.
You need a better PC.
Yeah. So Unity, you can make anything. I mean, and so that's quite a popular one. The other one is Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine is also quite popular because Epic are allowing Web3 games or blockchain games,
and Steam are not
Epic on their platform exactly. So whereas Steam does not. So it makes sense to build a game on an engine
that they're going to support you.
Yeah, they're going to support you as well on the platform. They have no problem with blockchain games. So
very cool. And these gaming developers, have they already built kind of, let's say, normal regular games by this point, or are they kind of going, hey, we're going to just build blockchain games? Or sorry, yeah. So the first one is have they already built a game that they put out, let's say on Steam, and now they're actually we want to make it blockchain game because that looks pretty cool. Or are they just kind of starting from scratch, going into blockchain?
It's both. I would say the vast majority will have a team that consists of at least some veteran developers who've got the chops and who've built games before. Because if you don't have that down, then not only do you need to learn blockchain, but you also need to learn game development.
Yeah,
which is, I mean, that's
I have seen a lot of people actually I've seen a lot of projects, blockchain gaming, whereas people that are oh, blockchain's really cool, let's make a game, but they've never made a game before, and they think, oh, we can make this game in 6 months, and yeah, they just have not built a game.
No,
in 6
exactly.
months.
It is really a mix of veteran developers who say, well, blockchain's a cool field, we want to expand into it, so they do that. And then there's others who've made blockchain projects. Often it's NFT collections, and they're trying to find out what utility to add, and they're like, could we add a game?
Yeah.
And so they build a game.
So do you help? So if someone came to you with an NFT project, could you help them build a game?
Absolutely. We're doing something like that on a project I unfortunately can't name, but it's
okay.
Yeah,
I understand.
it's a really cool one. But yeah, I mean, look, if you have an NFT project and you're trying to find more utility, we can do other.
Trying to find any utility.
Yeah, you're finding. You want a reason to people to pick it up and use it, and I mean that's the same for anything, right? You need to find incentive for users to return to or really fall in love with your project. So we can absolutely help you attach a game to an existing NFT, or if you're like, I want an NFT collection and I want a game, I don't know how to make either, then you can still come to us. And if you've got a great idea and you've got the money, that's the thing. We're happy to work with the teams, but we quite often get calls from people who've I had a dream and I wanted to make a game, and it's like, okay, well, what have you got so far? I had a dream, and then it's like, okay, maybe we can't help you. But if you have some amount of development experience, or you've got a project that needs assistance, we can help with whatever it is you need.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Honestly, it seems there needs to be more of you.
Yeah.
Because no one's cracked it yet.
Nope.
No one's cracked that whole a formula for making a blockchain game that everyone's like, oh my goodness. I mean, Axie Infinity kind of did, but then they kind of messed up their tokenomics, right? And then it kind of went a bit downhill.
Well, I mean, the thing about...
And everything went, down in value and stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, the problem with Axie Infinity, and, it's still, I mean, all credit to the guys who built it, because it was incredibly successful. It still is relatively successful compared to everything else in the space.
That's true.
It's... I think the biggest issue is that play to earn as an idea is quite difficult.
It's a boring game.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the idea is that players are rewarded tokens which have real world value because cryptocurrency. They get rewarded cryptocurrency or NFTs that can be sold for value. They get rewarded for playing the game. But in order to do that, you kind of have to build in grind. It's the same way if you have a free to play game and you want people to buy microtransactions and stuff, you have to give them a reason to do it. So if the game's really easy to finish and win without spending money, why would they spend money? So you have to kind of put grind into your game. And so what happens is inevitably play to earn games become less play to earn and more job to earn.
Yeah.
Because you do 6 hours grind every day to earn, and there's no incentive for players to enjoy and experience it and put back into the game.
I feel like that is kind of just the downfall of most blockchain games. They're just trying to make money off the game instead of making a game that is either they're trying to make money for the game, or they're just trying to make the game for people to also make money that also makes them money, instead of just making a game that's just fun with the added incentive to make money.
Yeah,
basically.
I mean, the thing is, like, if you when it comes to a game, at the end of the day, whether you're making it a blockchain game, you're making a more traditional game, which we kind of call like Web 2 games.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, if it's not fun, it's not going to last, because the only way to get people to come back to your game, if it's not fun, is to invest into it, to put money into it, to get people to come back, and that's just like a sinking ship, right?
So I interviewed a couple months ago PG. He's the head of gaming for the Algorand Foundation. I asked him this question. I want to ask you the same question. Okay. Do you? I want to see if they're the same answer or a different answer. Right. So, do you think the first big blockchain game AAA title success is going to come? Not necessarily AAA title, but first big successful game that has got people going, actually, this looks pretty cool, this blockchain gaming. Is it going to come from a AAA studio, or is it going to come from a little indie studio?
That's a good question. I think the thing is, so I'll put it this way. It's possible it could come from an indie studio. One of the kind of magic like elements of blockchain gaming is that it's much easier to fundraise, which means you don't have to rely on publishers who take control, who can often take control of your project, which means that developers can sometimes have more creative control, which is good in the blockchain space. So it could be it could be an indie developer who manages to get a big windfall through fundraising and makes like this incredible game that's really popular. It could also be that they just stumble upon something really good. Like Minecraft wasn't created initially to be huge. It was initially created as a like a project, and then it kind of grew up. So that's one way, but more likely than not, it's going to take money. And like at the end of the day, some of the biggest games at the moment, like I know there are a lot of really successful indie games, but that takes a lot of work and hard work, and it's not something you can guarantee. Sometimes it's you kind of have to roll the dice, whereas the other solution is to throw a lot of money in it, because marketing is a thing, making sure that the right people see the game as a thing, and making sure the right team builds it. And if you have a successful franchise already and you build blockchain into it, you make...
So if Ubisoft were like, hey, we got Assassin's Creed, a new Assassin's Creed coming out, but it's blockchain.
Yeah, I mean...
That might kind of do it?
Maybe, but Ubisoft has tried this once before, and it backfired, because what you need to be careful about doing is not making it so that the reason you've integrated blockchain is so that you can make more revenue. Gamers are pretty fickle about that sort of thing, and they're not going to forgive you. What you need to do is use blockchain to make your game better for gamers. If you make it better for your bottom line, gamers are not going to... There's no way they're going to allow it to work. If you make it better for gamers, if it's something that takes gaming to the next level, then absolutely you could. And there are games now in the more traditional gaming space that are pretty close to being blockchain games.
Yeah.
So like anything on Steam that has an active, that uses the marketplace, like Counter-Strike and Dota, players can earn items or buy items and then later trade them and sell them to others. And there are people who make money buying and selling items in those games. And that's not that far removed from what a blockchain game is. The only difference is it's not on the blockchain, it's in Steam. So it could be done. If you were the first guys to say, we're going to make League of Legends for blockchain, and it was as good as that's the thing, is a lot of developers are making the battle royale or MOBA of and they're like, but it's not as good. It's like, but at the end of the day, gamers are going to play the best one, not the one that earns them the most money. If being able to recoup some of your costs you invest into playing the game, or being able to get something out of it for all the time you've invested in, on top of a great game, then you got a winner.
It's a great answer. That is a great answer.
What they
No. So PG from the Algorand Foundation, he said he thinks the AAA titles won't get on board until indie studio have a miraculous success, and then they go, okay, we're ready now.
Yeah.
Because I guess his reasoning behind it, which I do get, is a lot of he said Ubisoft were trying to do some stuff. Any gaming studio that has tried to say, hey, we're going to do blockchain stuff, everyone's gone, no, go away, gross, we don't want that. I think AAA titles are probably just waiting, aren't they? They're waiting for more people to get on board with blockchain, which is probably going to have to come from, indie developers, but well-funded indie developers, if that makes sense. Before the AAA titles, Ubisoft, EA, whatever, are going to go, okay, I think the market is ready for us now.
Yeah. I mean, there are a couple developers or AAA studios that are cowboys in the space that may be willing to give it a go.
Yeah.
So it's weird to say this, Valve, because they're the ones who banned blockchain games from Steam.
Yeah.
But, there's more reasons to do it than just blockchain's the devil, or like we don't like it. It's that there were a lot of like people taking advantage of players and users, and the easiest way to rectify that is to just wholesale ban everything.
Yeah.
Figure out the best way to onboard and then do it slowly and properly.
True.
And so if anyone's going to do it...
blockchain is, synonymous for hackers.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that blockchain gives...
rug pulls.
Blockchain gives users a lot of power. And anything where users have a lot of power means there's a lot of room to make mistakes. Yeah. So, for example, the idea behind blockchain is that instead of like assets being primarily controlled by, say, a bank, you control them. But, banks don't just sit on your money. They also put a lot of security measures in place, and they also have a lot of like precautionary stuff to protect you. Whereas if you're doing it yourself and you...
got it all under your mattress.
Yeah, and you lose it, it's on you. So...
Yeah. No, that's a really good way to put it. So the new platform you've got coming out, owned.gg.
That's it.
When can we expect that? Have you got like a timeline of when it's going to be like fully operational?
Yeah, so we are aiming to do a beta in late or mid to late March, and then a launch in like early Q2.
And are the games that are going to be on it, are they going to be, do you have to pay for them? Is it free games? Do you have to buy an NFT to play it, or is it dependent on the game?
No, so we don't have any prescriptions for the games that are going to be on it. What we're doing is we're just going and looking for the best games on the space and saying we want you on the platform because we want gamers to find you. We don't want to prescribe to them how they should make their game because it's really the final decision needs to be up to the players. I like this method of play, so I'm going to keep doing it. And if more people do it, then that's the strategy that will win out. Yeah.
Because obviously the issue with Axie Infinity, especially when I first heard about it, someone was like, oh, have you seen this blockchain gaming thing? Axie Infinity. And I was like, oh, what's that? And I got started researching everything. And then it was like, you have to buy an NFT. And the NFTs were like, my friend was like, oh yeah, I've just bought one for like 1,000 dirhams so I can start playing this game. And I'm like, well, that's like $250, $300 to play a game. That seems a bit weird. Oh, you can earn money from it. And then when you actually look at how much money you can earn, it's like not a lot unless you get really lucky. It's like a couple dollars a day or something. A couple dollars a week, I think. Which is like, well, that's not really worth it. So, I mean, personally, if someone can figure out a way to make money from their game with it just being free to play and you can earn NFTs whilst playing it, but keeping the economy going. There's so many factors, right? It is complicated. So someone will sometime nail that.
And there are some games in the space that are doing some really interesting things. So for example, there's a game called Delicium.
Okay.
And what they're using is they're using the blockchain. They do have the kind of more standard mechanics, like they're creating, I guess, what you could tentatively call a metaverse, but it's not really. It's more like an open world where players can like use the power of the blockchain to like own the things they're doing.
Yeah.
But the main thing they're using is by using the blockchain, they can actually decentralize ownership of the whole game itself. And so you can go to Delicium and say, hey, I want to manage my own Delicium. And they can kind of give you the access to it to host your own Delicium, kind of like you would host a game server, but with the blockchain mechanics tied into it. And that's where they're using blockchain more so than you need this NFT to play the game.
Yeah, very cool. And how is it going with, obviously, different games are on different blockchains. Is that a difficulty for your platform, or does it have to be on one blockchain, or is it different blockchain games on different blockchains are on your platform?
No. So any game is welcome. And in fact, the one thing we kind of think is a key winning strategy for us is we're not just focusing on Web3 or blockchain games. The goal is to inevitably incorporate all games. And that's because we want to drop this like blockchain moniker. We want to say games. Games are for gamers, and gaming is it like. You can be, I feel like playing a blockchain game today, or I don't feel like playing a drop. Same way you would maybe want to play a free-to-play game, or you want to play a game that you bought up front. And so we're going to incorporate that post-launch. It won't be straight away. But the other thing is our primary like motivation for building the platform is helping gamers find great games. And so we couldn't really like restrict games by blockchain because there's a lot of great games on different blockchains.
Yeah.
And so any game can be on our platform, but if you want to integrate your marketplace into our platform so that you can have items traded directly from the platform, then you kind of have to look at the blockchain. We're going to make it as wide as we can. We're not like limiting it.
So you have your own marketplace.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've got a marketplace. You can think of it as a front end. It's an aggregator. So we aggregate everyone's items. We are focusing at the beginning. We're going to be able to support like Immutable X and Polygon out the gates, but we're going to add as many as we can. We're thinking of this more as like an open source approach to having all the as many like great blockchains on, because the thing we want is we don't want, I mean, obviously we want great blockchain partners, but the thing we really want is great games. And so they come from a wide spectrum of blockchain, so we need to support as many as we can.
I like it. Very cool. Just one thing that popped into my head. I went to an event a couple months ago, and I met this guy who's doing a game called Decimated or Decimate.net. Something like that. Oh, yeah, something like that. Anyway, it's a blockchain game that they're developing. They've had a lot of people put money into it, like millions of dollars. And all of the kind of developers have all come from like the Ubisofts or the other AAA titles. And I got to be honest, it looks very cool. Very like cyberpunk-esque, shooting, whatever. But yeah, I didn't know if you had seen that one. I think it's called Decimate or Decimated.net. And I thought that was quite a cool project because the guy who was running it, he's an ex-gaming developer at a big AAA studio. He's been doing it for like 20 years. And he's basically got money and then started recruiting some big people.
Yeah.
So that got me quite excited. That got me going, okay, maybe this is what's going to change the game.
Yeah.
Someone putting the money up to just hire these developers that are already talented and already, like you said earlier, veterans of the developing world.
The thing is with blockchain gaming, because it's one of the kind of inherent powers of blockchain gaming is not just the games you make, but how you raise funding, rather than having to be solely reliant on publishers to front it, which means that they have creative control a lot of the time. You can raise funds through like effectively like community fundraising, and you can then have control to make whatever game you want, but you're not as limited by funding like as more traditional indie games would be.
Yeah.
So there's been like I've seen quite a few blockchain games which like quite a few of them I'm not allowed to talk about just yet, but I can tell you they are they're built on cutting edge engines like Unreal 5. They've got all the whistles, the bells and whistles, and they look fantastic.
Yeah.
And their goal for a lot of them is to get gamers in and to let them enjoy the game. And only if they're kind of like bought into it, then kind of introduce them slowly to the blockchain space. So
you can play the game just normally.
Yeah.
And then if you want to get into the blockchain elements of that game, then you can deep dive into it a little bit more. But if you want, you can just play the game like normal.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different like variations. So again, it's not just about like what games you make, but it's like how do you onboard users and get them to buy into your games. We've seen developers do from you need to pay up front to get an NFT to play the game to you play the game as much as you want, never touch the blockchain stuff if you don't want to, or it's a mix of both. So it really just depends. It's the same as like some games are free to play, but there's purchasable elements. Others don't really require you to purchase anything. Some, it's one-time upfront payment and you play it and then you're done with it. So yeah.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, I feel like we could sit and chat here for a while, but we probably should wrap it up at some point.
Sure.
But if you do want to go check it all out, you can go to unixgaming.org.
That's it.
Or you can go to owned.gg. How do you spell owned? Like
OWNED. So
okay, like the normal way to spell it.
Yeah, the
Cool.
hashtag we're going with is get owned.
Get
But
owned.
it's the sort of it's a good owned to get. So
Yeah.
usually when that happens to you, it's not
It's
a
a
good
bad
thing.
thing,
But
but-
this is a good one.
Yeah, so you can own your assets, that
Yeah,
sort of
exactly.
thing. Yeah,
That's
I like it. Okay, cool. Owned.gg and unixgaming.org.
That's it.
Check it out. Tim, thank you so much. Head of
problem.
marketing at Unix Gaming, and I'm sure you'll be back again in a few months, maybe.
Yeah,
with
well,
some
as
more
many
exciting
times as you'll
things.
have me, right? So,
Awesome. Thanks, Tim.
thanks. And good news, Joe. I've got some really good games to talk about today.
Ooh, I love like the new releases. They're always really fun. What have you got for us?
I wouldn't classify it as new so much as remake, but Dead Space for sure.
Ah, it looks so good.
If you're a fan of horror, action survival, it's probably one of the best survival action games in the last 2 decades. Remade, prettier. I'm not sure if you would classify more gory or more visually grotesque as prettier, but it's a great game.
The graphics are better.
yeah, which makes it more terrifying, but that's what you want, right?
No, it looks really, really good, and I'm super excited to play it. And I'm not much of a horror, gamer, but to be honest, like looking at Dead Space gameplay, looking at the reviews, I'm like, yeah, I think I'm going to play this.
You not played Dead? Oh, dude.
I haven't played it. I haven't played the original, so I'm actually more excited to play it because I've never played the originals. So.
I know I've loved it, and I've like it's one of those games where even if you're not a big fan of horror, you're gonna force yourself through it. You're gonna make sure you get to the next point, even if you freak out a little bit along the way, because it's
I heard there's
good.
a lot of jump scares and stuff, but
yeah, I mean by the end you're gonna be. Every time you see a vent, you're going to be like, okay, I know what's coming. I'm setting you set yourself up for the fright, but it's totally worth it.
We'll see. I'm excited. What else have we got?
So, I mean, the other big one that's coming up in the near future is Hogwarts Legacy. Obviously, that's
yes.
the big one.
So excited for that. It comes out, within a week, right? It's
yeah.
like 14th or something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's
less than that.
It's been a while since people have been excited for a big Harry Potter game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the most talked about stuff before that was maybe Philosopher's Stone on PlayStation 1.
Yeah, wow.
It's been a while since there's been like a really big game in the space. So I think people are really excited, and it's really different from what's happened before. Because before it was like a very curated story. Go here, do this thing. Go collect these beans. Go do this educational thing where you like make potions. And now it's like, here's a big open RPG and a world for you to explore. And the most interesting thing for people is it's not set in the time when Harry Potter was at school. It's way before. Yeah, so it's a new space, and it's a good way to get people into the game or the universe of Harry Potter who have not really read the books or watched the movies.
And I heard you can either be really good or really bad in it. Like you can actually be as bad as you could be like Voldemort if you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean,
don't say his name.
The thing about like games where you can be good and bad is like it tends to come down to like Mass Effect, where it's less about being good and evil and more about being a really good guy or kind of a douche. So it's less evil and more just that, just like you become Malfoy.
Yeah,
you're just gonna like trip people, but rather than I guess changing the world.
Nice. All right, awesome. Well, there are your new releases to check out. Dead Space is already out, so go and play that one if you're up for your horror shooter. And then we've also got Hogwarts Legacy coming soon. Thanks for your new releases, Tim.
Yeah, happy to help, and I hope everyone gets to play them.
I have actually got your gaming news right now. So, Tim, check this out. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, right? Game was supposed to be released the end of 2022. They pushed it back. They've now delayed it again to April 28th.
That's okay. Sometimes a great game takes a while to make, so... That's true.
And the first one was really good.
It was awesome. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, this one looks like it's going to be really, really cool. So I'm excited for that. So if you want to play it, hopefully, we'll see, April 28th, approximately 6 weeks after its date that they said, okay, it's definitely going to be this date. It's now 6 weeks later than that. So you got a little bit longer to wait, but it does look really cool. It's like a solo Star Wars game. So not Han Solo, like you're just a character. You're playing one character and you have to go through the story of the main character, which is
I mean, cool. It's got a bit of a Metroidvania, or maybe it's like Star Wars Dark Souls. Which,
yeah.
I mean, how do you go wrong with that?
Exactly. And the lightsaber is amazing to use in it, and like your powers and the force and everything's pretty cool. Also, Tomb Raider TV series in development at Amazon. I mean, come on, that is pretty cool, especially how well Amazon did with the Lord of the Rings TV show. I thought they did really well of that. So yeah, apparently that is going to be happening. Obviously, they did the film back in 2018, so we haven't really seen much of that since then. And then before that, we had the Angelina Jolie back in like 2001. So they really have a little bit apart between what they're doing. But yeah, so Amazon creating a TV show. They haven't told too much about when it's going to be out or anything like that, but yeah, pretty excited for that. So that'll be really, really good. Also, Far Cry is a big franchise in gaming, and they're going to be making a new one, Far Cry 7, and a multiplayer game reportedly in the works at Ubisoft. I mean, Far Cry is pretty cool. I loved it. The last one, they had that really cool actor who's in Breaking Bad. He's in Star Wars as well, Better Call Saul. And I'm forgetting his name. I always forget his name. Hello. He's got quite a deep voice.
No, I know who you're talking about.
What's his name?
It's a pity that he's got such a...
Giancarlo.
Yeah,
Giancarlo. Right? Something like that. Anyway, so he actually played the main character in the game, which is really cool. But he's also a voice actor. He does I think he's in Invincible or something like that as well. But he's also in that new Kaleidoscope TV show that's on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have not.
It's kind of cool. But anyway, so apparently they're going to be doing a multiplayer game and Far Cry 7. So plenty to look forward to in the world of gaming. And there you go. That is your gaming news of the week. I have got your top 5 right now, and today I'm doing top 5 TV shows ranked by the tomato meter. These are video game adaptations, okay? And Tim, I want you to tell me if you think this list is pretty accurate. Starting in at number 5 with 81% on the tomato meter by Rotten Tomatoes, The Witcher.
81%, it's a good score, good show. Second season's better than the first, but I really enjoyed it.
I am a little bit sad that Henry Cavill's going to be leaving the show.
Yeah, that is a bit of a bummer.
And do you know what he said, why the reason was? It was because the writers wanted to write new stories where he wanted them to continue the stories that were written by the original Polish author. So that's why he's like, leaving the show, guys. I want it to be to the books that were written by the original author. If you're going to change the story, I'm out.
It tells me that this may not stay on the top 5 for very long.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. Henry Cavill's so good at it. Number 4, we got Castlevania, which I actually never saw, but apparently that's 94%.
I can personally vouch for Castlevania. The end season or the end episode.
Yeah.
Spectacular.
Really?
So good.
All right, well, that's one to watch. Castlevania came out in 2017. I believe it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's 4 seasons, I believe, and the last one is...
Okay, cool. In at number 3, and this only just came out recently, but with 97%, The Last of Us.
I mean, 97% is third. There's not a lot of space.
96%, sorry.
Not a lot of space to get to number 1 now.
Well, you'll find out. But yeah, 96% The Last of Us. I mean, there's only 3 episodes out so far. And I tell you what, that third episode, you haven't watched it yet, have you?
No, I haven't.
That third episode, I was crying. It was really good.
I do like a weeper. I think I'm going to have to check it out.
It was really, really good. My only, not criticism, but my only thing that I'm I want a bit more action. But I'm hoping that'll come later on in the season. Number 2, Cyberpunk Edgerunners.
Oh,
have you watched it?
It's really good.
It's so good. I was so into that. And I was so sad when it ended. I was like, I want to watch more. It got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's so good. CD Projekt Red practically doubled sales of Cyberpunk after putting that out. So.
Yeah, they actually, what was it? So they obviously had initial people playing the game, and they got to have many million people playing it. Then it went down. And then they actually beat the record completely forever, anyone playing Cyberpunk, when that TV show came out. More people ever played the game, which is amazing. So yeah, if you haven't watched Cyberpunk Edgerunners, it is on Netflix and it's very, very good. I'm not normally into my anime style, but I really got into that. Really cool. And number 1, it was the first game adaptation to win an Emmy. I believe, which is Arcane League of Legends adaptation.
Yeah, I mean, this is a weird one for me because between League of Legends and Dota, obviously I'm a much bigger Dota guy, but in the TV show, League of Legends show far outdoes the Dota TV show.
There was a Dota. I didn't watch the Dota one. I did watch. You know what? I only watched like 3 episodes of this, and I forgot to carry on watching it. But the 3 episodes I did watch, it was very, very good. So yeah, that also got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not happy that the rival to my favorite game is doing so well, but it's a good show, so watch it.
Amazing. Well, they're your top 5. I'll just read them out real quick so you know what to watch. The Witcher, Castlevania, The Last of Us, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and in at number 1, Arcane League of Legends. I think all of them, apart from The Last of Us, is on Netflix. So if you got Netflix, you're good to go. But there you go. That is your top 5. Yeah. And that is it for podcast number 15. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And a big thank you to Tim, who has been with us through this whole podcast. We had our lovely little talk topic about gaming for games that we love playing when we were younger that we can play with our children. And also we had blockchain gaming. I mean, so much stuff to learn. I've learned a lot from you today, Tim, but we definitely need to get you back on in a few months to learn more and see what you guys are up to with your really cool platforms. So you can go check them out, unixgaming.org or owned.gg.
That's it.
Yeah, very excited to see that. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with us for the Daily Gamer podcast. Make sure you go check us out on our socials, Daily Gamer Official, and on our YouTube and on our Instagram. And you can check out our website, daily-gamer.net. We will see you next time.
See ya.
Yeah.